everybody. We are back with part 2 of Our Lives in Needham. And today we have more conversation with Lois Sockol because we have a lot more we want to talk to her about. And hi, Lois.
Hello, Gloria.
And specifically, last time we talked a lot about town involvement and projects that you and Ron did in town. But today we want to talk specifically about the Needham-Wellesley game. Now, in 1881, when Needham and Wellesley split, we had 2 high schools. There was an East High School and a West High School, and they used to play football against each other. Once we became 2 towns, the rivalry took on a whole different color. So 1882 was the first year of the interschool rivalry, and in 1982 they celebrated the centennial, and Ron and his co-chair Dana Story were a huge part of that, and I want you to tell me about the game, about Ron's involvement, and generally what went on in that pretty fabulous weekend.
I'm happy to do that. It was a highlight in our lives. Ron spent an enormous amount of time the year before the game promoting the game, letting people know about the game, letting people know the history of the game. He produced a pamphlet like this, and inside of that pamphlet was some remarkable things, I think. He had written to the President of the United States, and the President of the United States responded. It's short. May I read it?
Certainly.
All right. Greetings to the students, faculty, members, and fans of Needham and Wellesley High Schools. I am pleased to join you in celebrating the 100th meeting of the nation's oldest high school football rivalry.
Yes.
Best wishes to all of you for an exciting contest, and may the better team win. I'll hold off who the better team that won was until the end of the talk.
Well, who signed the letter?
Oh, who signed the letter? Ronald Reagan.
He's president in 1982.
So Ron Sockol not only wrote to Ronald Reagan, he also wrote to the governor and received a letter from the governor of the state, which was Edward King. He wrote to the representative and had the proceedings are in the record, the congressional record, put there by Joe Markley. So he let the whole state know, as a matter of fact, the whole country know, of the actual glory of having a rivalry between these 2 friendly towns for 100 years. Actually, next year's rival will be 144 years, which is quite remarkable in itself. In addition to putting together this, which contains the history, which I will not go over now.
Okay, so what else is, you got the history?
It has the history of the teams. It has how many won. And at the point of that game, which is interesting, Wellesley was ahead in the rivalry, 43 to 42 games.
Ooh.
Right. But at the end of that game, the rivalry was tied. Needham won that historic game.
Do you remember what the score was?
I don't.
Okay.
I wasn't planning to tell this, but I remember the first touchdown. And I wasn't planning to tell this, but I will, and possibly he'll forgive me. All right? Wellesley punted the ball, and this kid in the outfield caught that ball. And he ran back 92 yards for the first touchdown and then scored the extra points. The kid's name was Jim Sockol.
I was going to say, this has to have been Jim. Yeah.
It had to be Jim. There were many fine ball players on the field that day. I remembered his name in particular. But I will tell you this. Ron had broadcast that game to a point of not only writing to the president, not only writing to the representative and the governor, but he wrote to the TV stations. And that game had 10,000 people in Memorial Park. It also had Channel 7. And it was broadcast nationally.
Wow.
And at the end of that game, Channel 7 went over to Jim and put a mic in front of his face and said, "How did it feel to make that run?" And this was Jimmy's response. "Well, Charlie Walsh opened the hole. I just put the wheels on." Charlie also played in that game.
Yeah.
As if you look through this booklet.
Yes, you got the team rosters.
You have the whole team roster.
Yeah.
And you will find many of the people who played in that game are still living in the great town of Needham. So that was one of the things that was produced. Another thing that helped get the 10,000 people there was this poster that Ron put together.
That's a beautiful poster.
And put in many of the stores in Needham carried this poster, which also advertised the game and brought people to the field. It's a wonderful thing when you think that 100 years, these two towns, which began as one, kept their friendly relationship for this friendly game, and it was competitive, but the teams were so united. It was beautiful. There was also what Ron did to advertise the game was he would write a weekly column, and in that column he would give the history of the players, the history of the boys that not only were going to play that year, but previous years. Yeah. So it was a nice historic little chronicle of the kids that played. And as I read these things, as I went over this for preparation for today, I realized how many of those boys still live in Needham. Not only live in Needham, but are important to the town.
That's one of the good things about this town.
I will read one more thing from Frank Wall, who wrote for the transcript. And this was in the Norwood Beat, so it's for Norwood people. And he wrote in there, he cordoned off a box and outlined it and wrote, "To Ron Sockol, you and your Centennial Committee," and let me not forget to say, it was a committee. It was a joint effort. Yeah. I am only raising up Ron today for his part in it because he is no longer able to do so. To Ron Sockol, not that he ever would, you and your Centennial Committee made the entire state proud of the job you did in making the game number one, like it should have been number one. All the work you did behind the scenes deserves much recognition, and the kids from Wellesley and Needham owe you a lot. Let me say, this was a committee effort. Yes, Ron co-chaired it, yes, but this was a committee effort. And it was two committees, the committee in Needham and the committee in Wellesley. This would not have been done by just one solo. And on that committee was Dana Story, who was a co-chair with Ron Sockol, John Carroll from the Needham School Committee, Dr. Alan Schaefer, the superintendent of the Needham Schools, George Skinner, who was principal of the Needham Schools, James Maloney, who was the athletic director. That was the committee from Needham.
Yeah.
And as you hear as I read it, there were superintendents, principals. They were busy in their jobs. So the people who took on the major promotion of it were Ron and Dana.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Is there anything you'd like to
Show
ask
me your bumper
about
sticker.
It? Oh, sorry. He also made bumper stickers. Ron was sure he wanted everyone in town to know about this game. And he wanted everyone in Wellesley to know about this game as well. So the bumper stickers went to two places. Yeah. He put together this bumper sticker, which many of the stores in town carried, just as many of the stores in town carried the beautiful poster.
Yeah.
And he tried to incite the interest, which was there, of the town. When you have 10,000 people come to Memorial Park.
I'm trying to imagine where they all fit.
It was an amazing day. Oh. It truly was. And I mentioned one person who played in the game because he's particularly close to me, but the game was won not by one person. The game was won by a team. Let me see. Yeah. The game was won by a team of boys who brought us to 43 games.
Yes.
All right. And many, I don't know if you want me to reach the whole team, but many of those boys are still in Needham. Carl Crushpain was the captain of the team. Did you want me to read the names of the people, or there are names you would recognize?
Just like highlight a few that you know are still in town.
I think Neil Brady is still in town. Bob Quillard may still be in town. Kevin Jackson, Jim, of course, is still in town. Chris Scarcelli, I think, is town. Daniel McGovern may still be in town. Peter Vigliano, I know, is in town. Stephen Branberry, Michael Pugach is still, I believe, in town. I'm hesitant by reading them only because they're all so important. It was a team. One of the beautiful things about this squad was they were a team. And they went out on that field as a team.
And that's why they were successful.
Scott McCourt is probably still in town. Charlie Walsh isn't in town, but he's near. Did I say Stephen Scarcella? Because I think he is in. Timothy Keating is still in town. There were 88 names, and I don't know if you have time for 88 names.
I don't think so.
But that team was worked and operated as a team.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful day, and it was a day that rightfully goes down in history. And I'm sure this year's 144th game will also be a beautiful game. God bless Needham. God bless the boys.
So Lois has kindly offered to give us copies of these materials for the History Center collections, which I'm thrilled about because these are amazing objects, an amazing record of clearly an amazing day. You mentioned in our earlier conversation that Ron coached youth football. How many of these kids that he coached through the years ended up on the high school team?
Many of them were kids he coached. And his, I think, devotion to the day was also an extension of his devotion to those kids he coached.
To see them after all those years sort of
reaching
the summit of
playing together on a historic game. And he wanted to make sure that it was going to be continually historic. And so he put this effort in. But there were many of them he coached.
Thank you so much, Lois. Thank you for bringing this to us. We are here today with Leslie Lockhart. Now, Leslie's a little different from the people we've been interviewing because she lives in Newton, not in Needham. So we're going to start with that. How long have you lived in Newton?
I've lived in Newton almost 40 years.
Which of the many villages?
In Newtonville.
Newtonville. Oh, that's my favorite part of Newton.
Me too.
It's got all the good.
I live on the best street in the best part of Newton, I think.
And what do you do there? Do you...
Well, I'm mostly retired. I volunteer for the Federation for Children with Special Needs.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
Mainly, well, the Federation is maybe the largest agency that supports parents of children with special needs. Mm-hmm. They have a variety of ways they do that. I work on the information center and mostly talk to parents who have questions, concerns, things aren't going too well, and just provide some information about the special ed laws, references to other agencies or people who can support them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is this statewide, national?
It's statewide.
Statewide. Okay.
There's one in every state.
Okay.
A similar information center for parents.
Okay.
And the Federation here is statewide.
So it works with state resources and can put people together with nearby
Correct.
sources of assistance.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, there's not a whole lot right now, but we're still in there.
Yeah, okay. Keeping up with fighting the good fight.
Yes. Yeah, I've been doing that a long time. Before that, I worked for Massachusetts Advocates for Children, doing similar work.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
even though you live in Newton, we are here today in Needham. What brings you to the Senior Center?
The classes, and now all the wonderful people I've met here.
Yeah.
I started. I have some friends in the south part of Newton, right next to Needham, and so during the beginning of the pandemic, Needham had some online classes that I tried, and I didn't know much about the Newton Senior Center, so they were going to Needham, so they told me about it, and then I started coming here in person to a few classes. So that's the main thing. And my daughter is here in the adult day program at the Charles River Center in Needham. Mm-hmm. So she's been involved there over 20 years. So we've been
So
coming to Needham for a lot of different things. Early intervention when before she was 3, and now as an adult.
okay. Yeah. So you spend a lot of time here as well
Yes.
as in
No,
Newton.
it's a wonderful town.
Yeah. Well, Newton now has a new senior center. Is that right?
Yeah, it opened December 5th.
I saw the scaffolding was down. I was in Newton.
Yeah.
I was in Newtonville.
Hard to believe.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
as
Yes.
it happens. And yeah, I said, wow, what is this? Oh yeah, right. They built this new senior center. It looks very nice. Looks
It's
open.
beautiful. It's open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's open.
Okay. Well, we hope we don't lose you to
Yeah, we'll
Newton's
see.
program.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten pretty close with a group of people in the class I was just in, so
Yeah.
we hope to continue.
That's good. So which
Getting
classes
together.
are you taking here?
Mindfulness.
Okay.
And Tai Chi, and Pearl's class, which I think is Strength and Balance, it's called. It's an exercise class, which I've only done online. And yesterday, for the first time, I went to her in-person class in Newton, which was very exciting to meet her in person after 3 years online.
3 years online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the main classes I've taken. And I've gone to a few lectures here. They've had some about the history events in Boston, which have been really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a very active senior center. And then
Yes.
with the construction of the new building, the expansion of program, and now and the intentional name change, the center at the Heights, not just for seniors. There are a lot of programs. We've used their programs as my parents were aging. We needed
Yes.
resources, so even younger people now use this
Yes.
facility. It's not just you don't have to be over 65. There's a lot going on in program and in resources for pretty much the whole town, which is kind of exciting.
It is. No, it's really welcoming. We were saying in the Newton Center, they want to make the same. They have some things for children, and but I was talking to some people in Newton, and we were really saying how, at this point anyway, this center is much more friendlier and more open, and there's always coffee in the cafe, and there's a lot of people sitting, talking, playing cards, which has not happened in Newton yet.
Yeah.
So we're hoping.
I saw
But anyway, it's a very,
bridge
very
group
friendly
across the
place.
hall.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's a
good.
wonderful resource.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. We are here with Carol Sklar, another denizen of Newton. Glad to see our senior center brings people in from all over. So what do you do in Newton?
I do a lot of my things here, actually.
Okay, so tell
Is
what
what
do we
happens.
what do we do here?
Well, I retired in 21,
Okay.
right in the middle of the pandemic.
What did you do before you retired?
I worked in a hospital, and everything was online.
Mm.
So the first thing I did was somehow I hooked up with Needham. I really don't know. I don't remember how. And they had a gardening club. So imagine doing a gardening club
Online.
on Zoom. And that was the first thing I did when I retired, was the gardening club here, and it was wonderful. They brought in, there was a young woman here who left, but she was a really avid gardener. And they brought in people who had different specialties. We had arborists, we had botanists, and we had little talks, so you knew it was a place that you could come. I think it was once a month.
Mm.
And you say, I had this plant, it's doing this and this. And it was fantastic.
Wow.
So that was
I
my
would
first.
not have thought that would be an online program.
And then
That's
she
cool.
left, and then somebody else volunteered to take it over in person,
Uh-huh.
and just died.
Oh.
So yeah, it worked better online. So that was my first attachment to here. And then we must have been coming out of the pandemic, and Aisha put out in the newsletter that they were looking for someone to teach Mahjong. And so I contacted her and I said, I could do it, but only if nobody else volunteered. To which she immediately said, okay, when would you like to start doing it? So I've been doing it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And it brings me such joy because there's a drop-in Mahjong group on Mondays
Uh-huh.
from 1 to 3. And they can have anywhere from 25 to 30 people in
Wow.
there. And I've taught most of them. And it's wonderful. And then there are little splinter groups, so I'll come by, they're in the cafe or they're in the hall, and I've taught them all.
Yeah.
And it's just delightful.
And it's just a way that you brought a whole bunch of people together
Yeah, it's just been
to
wonderful.
do something, to share
Right.
an activity, but also to share the time and share the friendship.
Right. It's the nicest people, and it's weird. So I had this very strong connection to Needham now because I've never spent so much time in Needham. So I'm here probably at least 3 or 4 days a week.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking with Carol at the new Newton Senior Center, just opened last week.
Right, Sunday.
Yeah. So, but hopefully we won't lose you to them, and we'll keep you doing your programs here, because that's.
Well, that is a thing. I feel now I have divided loyalties. And I went there and I did 2 classes. I did 2 classes there yesterday, and it was really nice, and it's fantastically beautiful.
Yeah.
But then I came back here because we've been doing this meditation group for a few years,
Right.
and this is very comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like sort of like home, and that's like palatial
Yeah.
and foreign. So I think I'll probably be between the two.
That's gives you more options. That's not a bad thing.
Right. And this is the kind of place where you walk in and the people at the desk know you and they say hello.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Yeah.
it's smaller. It's not as frenetic. It's just a lovely, warm,
And it
welcoming
has
place.
a real wide range of programs, which, for the size, they maximize every resource, and they really do a lot
Right.
for the seniors and for the community as a whole.
Right. No, they really do. And even if you look at the space, it's not fancy space, but it does everything it needs to do.
Yeah.
And it's just relaxed and nice, and it's just a lovely space.
Well,
And
the space is well used. We were joking before because we were looking for a coat closet, and the room we're in, which is currently empty because we're using it for filming, the closets are full of athletic equipment. So at other times, there are mats and there are weights and so this is a place for yoga and exercise. Then other times it's for interviews or groups like this. I've done presentations in this room. They use their space very flexibly so they can maximize
Right.
the programming that they offer.
And it's really nice. There are different local groups that bring food. I know Tuesdays is usually bread. I don't know where the bread comes from. Sometimes it comes from Panera. Sometimes it comes from Trader Joe's. It's usually day old.
Yeah.
But there's a whole table of bread, all different kinds of bread.
Yeah.
And I took a loaf once from Trader Joe's, which is now my favorite bread.
Yeah.
It's a bread I'd never bought before. It's just, and it's also very nice. Like you can say to someone, we don't have enough 3-pound weights. And then you get 3-pound weights.
Yeah.
Things just roll and they work well. And
People participate, which is
It-
they're comfortable here and they participate.
yeah, it's just really, really nice. And you have parking.
Not enough.
Well, there's no parking in Newton.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, it's true. Yeah, you're on Walnut Street. There's no
Yeah.
parking at all.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
30 spots behind the building.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
But no, it's just a wonderful place.
Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoy. I'm glad you come.
That's why I
and I'm
thought,
glad
yeah.
you've made it productive and enjoyable for other people as well.
And I keep trying to encourage other people, regardless of where they live, to check out your senior centers.
Yeah.
There's so much going on there. It's not just bingo and people with walkers.
Yeah.
Although there is bingo and there are people with walkers.
But there's
it's-
a whole lot more, and it's also not just for seniors. There's a range of offerings.
There is.
Yeah, you can do. There are a lot of resources. I was telling Carol previously that when my parents started to age, I needed information. I needed to know where to go for resources, and they were amazingly helpful. They could tell me who to contact, what I needed, and because it's not something you're experienced
Right.
about
Right.
when you suddenly need help for your parents.
Right.
You're kind of on your own, and they were amazing. So it's a resource for a lot of people in town for various things.
But it's all kind of, I even, I tried to learn how to play pool. Didn't go well.
Do we have a pool table here?
Yeah,
Oh.
2 beautiful pool tables
Okay.
with really beautiful lights. And the man that taught was, he's a very kind man, and he really wants people to learn. But my friend and I were the only women doing it. And the men, even though they swore up and down they had never touched a pool cue before, they did really well and went on to the game, the table that was playing.
Yeah.
And I was still trying to, get that ball to do that thing.
Go in some
and-
direction other
I
than the
gave
one
it a
it
good
went in.
try. For a little bit, I thought it was going to be my thing. And I thought, because I'm still looking for my thing. It was not.
They don't want to admit they hung out in the pool hall when they
did
were kids.
something. This is not the first time you're doing this. I'm sorry.
Well, I was told in reference to another program we did on bowling. Needham had 2 bowling alleys. There was the Bowling Green, which is now gone as an institution, but the YMCA now has their building, and that was the family-friendly one. And the Bowl Away, which has been going strong since 1917, sort of lost that reputation when they brought in a couple of pool tables for. This is probably the 40s, 50s. Anyway, they brought in a couple of pool tables for sort of additional traffic and revenue. And the folks that were telling me they were kids at the time, like their mothers said, no, you can't go there anymore because there are guys playing pool.
Right.
So we even had our pool, our pool hall for the delinquents to hang out in.
No,
And now they're here as pool sharks at the
quite
senior
possibly.
center.
They have a nice team. They don't win as much as they'd like, but they are very enthusiastic.
Okay.
So, no, it's just been even the fact that you can just go in the cafe and just have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
And they'd like a donation, but it's just very friendly, relaxed, calm.
Good.
So I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you come and I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so. Oh, and it's real close to Trader Joe's if I have errands to do.
It is real
It's
close
really
to Trader
good.
Joe's. That was not Trader Joe's itself, but putting it in the Heights, close, within walking distance of several businesses, with more availability of parking. This was a big issue when the senior center was being planned. So people who came here did have access to shopping and make it easy to run errands and
Right.
convenient.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking with us today, and thank you for coming here and sharing your skills.
Thank you for having me.
We are here with David Siersdale. If you saw our video on veterans in Needham, David was an interview in that film, and we're very happy to have him back to talk about the other part of his life.
Right.
So Dave, start with, how long have you lived in Needham?
Since 1981.
Okay.
So 44 years, I guess. Married, of course. I have 5 children,
Well,
ages
okay.
60 down to 37, I guess.
okay.
That'll probably be the end of the line for those. And then eight grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations.
And I have a daughter in Andover and a son in Dedham area, and then another daughter in Plymouth. And we had a summer house in Plymouth from about 82 till last year. So it's gone, but it was very wonderful for the summers.
Oh, yeah.
And well, I'd been in the military for 4 years, and then I went to New Hampshire to teach high school, and I was really a bad teacher. So after a year and a half of kids saying, "Oh, why don't you find another exam?" I decided to leave teaching and try something else, and that was sales, because anybody can do sales that can talk, and you don't have to have much skill beyond that. And so that's what I've done till I was 74 or 5.
Yeah.
And the last 10 years, I have done darn little other than just enjoy Needham.
Enjoying
And
a
Needham
well-earned
is-
retirement.
Yeah, I'm very much a guy who says that Needham's an all-American town. It's become too expensive, but that happens everywhere, so I can't blame anything for that. The good news was I was able to sell my house right next to on Morton Street, right next to the Village Club that I lived in for 37 years
Yeah.
for 8 times what I bought it for, so how can I complain about that?
There's that.
I'm sad that my children did not enjoy that opportunity. And I think young people today, unless they have some of these super computer jobs, don't move into Needham. Or you get a good inheritance, that can help.
That's right. Pass on the house.
Or you inherit dad and mom's house, that's even better.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere here has always been a very open, friendly, and a variance of people. We've got everybody from minimally chartered to quantities of PhDs running around.
Yeah.
2 of my 6 children graduated from Needham High School, so we're invested in that, and we love that whole thing.
Yeah.
it's the quality of life here. I'm a sociologist by education.
Okay.
So and you have that same kind of gift. So I enjoy the fact that I've been here long enough to see a lot of changes. Most have been pretty good. The negative being it's just too expensive for young people to do what I did
Yeah.
today unless they've got a large investment, a wonderful job or something. And I would anticipate that will never change. It becomes more costly to live here every year, and that's just the way it's going to be. So we're losing a lot of people, I'm sure. And the quality of, and I'm sure I think our schools will probably go down in numbers. I don't know if they have already. You probably know that.
Not too much, because
right.
the new people moving in are mostly families with kids. So,
Yeah, so you need-
we're one of the few towns actually in Massachusetts that is not losing significant school
because
population.
it requires people in the child age brackets.
Yeah, nobody empty nests to Needham anymore.
Yeah,
So,
and to be to have the economics to do that, and so that means if you're a fairly well-off person under the age of 45, you can probably count on the probability of children and do just right with that. So that's the sad part that. And it's inevitable, but that's kind of the way it is. It's not going to be like that.
that's the trade-off of a living in a desirable town. Is that people want to live here, and that creates, a demand and supply problem with housing. People are always amused when I tell them we moved to Needham in 1991, and it was considered the affordable town.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at towns surrounding Needham and having a hard time finding anything, but we had some really good options in Needham because it was affordable, and people laugh now and said, "How could that be?" I said, "No, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
it was still, it was still
I always
growing,
saw
and there was
Needham
still
as
opportunities."
As a town where kids grew up 50 years ago in Needham, frequently married a classmate in Needham,
Yeah.
or go to college at one of the state universities and pay the $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 that it costs per year to do that.
Yeah,
And then they married and moved back to Needham. And then when their 50th anniversary party happened from the high school, the secretary of the class would call everybody and say it's going to be Friday night, and they'd all walk back to the high school for the reunion.
yeah,
That probably doesn't happen now.
not so much. Yeah,
So,
still, but still,
in that
there's
sense-
still a percentage that is able to stay and has long roots in the town, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you teach in your brief teaching career?
Oh, I was teaching high school, which means you teach everything: sociology, psychology, history, of course,
Yeah.
and quantities of stuff that I really enjoyed, but I was terrible at teaching it. And so,
happens.
After a year and a half of being a very bad teacher, I said, I'm going to give the kids a break and drop out of this industry. I'm not very good at it.
So, what industry did you go into for sales? You said you went into sales. Which industry
Yeah,
was that?
I was selling franchises across America. That was kind of interesting. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would be in some state or some major city in America talking to people about, and everybody wants to own a business at some point.
Yeah.
So I had no problem finding quantities of people who would answer Wall Street Journal ads to talk about whatever the franchise was that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And people pretty well talk themselves into it because everybody has that, or a good part of this country says, well, I'd like to own my own business.
That's right.
And then I could make my own money for myself and own my own
Be your own
business.
boss.
And
Yeah.
my kids would be rich from all the money that I made. So with that attitude in the public, it was a very prosperous business to be in.
Yeah.
And not just McDonald's hamburgers. I did that too, but
Yeah.
and that's still a desire of people.
Yeah.
And jobs do not. My son, who is with Tufts Medical, and he's in that same thing where, and lots of his friends are in that where they're sort of in the middle group, they're making maybe 100,000 or 120, and they can't live and raise children and buy a house and do the things that I could do when I was making 40,000.
Yeah.
And there's no good answer for that.
Yeah.
Other than hope that parents die early enough to you can inherit the money.
Well, no, but that's not necessarily a good solution.
It helps.
Well, economically it helps, not so much emotionally. Okay, well, thank you, David, so much for coming to talk to us again.
Good enough.
Pleasure talking to you.